Hello class, I'm going to walk you through finding a primary research article. So a primary research article is different than secondary, all right? It is an article that's in an academic journal that's been peer reviewed. And primary means that it has original data. The authors of the journal article actually went out and collected data from subjects, from participants. Secondary research is like they go out and they get a bunch of research articles and they read through the research articles and then they combine the information together to create a more comprehensive article on a topic. Secondary research can be great and very helpful, but for the purposes of this assignment, I want you to find a primary research article, one in which the authors did some research, did a survey or an interview or an experiment or maybe a case study. So I'm going to walk you through trying to find a primary research article. Let's start off with Google Scholar. Okay, so Google Scholar is a great place to start. I'm going to do mine on, let's say, violence in media and aggression. So I'm curious if there's a relationship between kids watching a lot of violence in media and if they tend to be more aggressive. So I put that in. So here I have one variable and then I put the term and then put the other variable. All right, so a couple things I'm going to do first is I'm going to go over and put the custom range. I want from the last 10 years. So let's do that. Okay. Now, with Google Scholar, so it's going to show a whole bunch of articles, right? But not all of them will be available in full. Some of them, like this one right here, doesn't have a link over here. So all you'll be able to do is read the abstract, be able to read kind of the summary of the article. And if you find one that doesn't have a link over here for the full text, you can look in our library, use our online library to find it. Let's just go here and try to take a look at a full text article. So here's one, it says media violence, physical aggression. Okay, that sounds good. So you see how let me go back. Do you see how I clicked on this right here? If I click right here, it's just going to give me the abstract, the summary, okay? So I'm going to go back and click right over here. That has the full text. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to click that. Now, find out if I have primary research, I need to read through the abstract. Okay, so the abstract says, many studies have shown, this study expands on previous research, okay, and it goes on to talk about it. It says, in this study, 430 third through fifth graders. Okay, I can already tell that this is primary research because it says in this study we had this number of participants, and then we asked them some questions to try to find out if there was a relationship. So when you're looking for primary research, you want to read through and see if you can see like them talk about a number of participants, them talk about maybe if a survey was done or an interview or a psychological test. All that is primary research. So this one looks like a great one. So I'm going to possibly use this. In most of the, well, in all the primary research articles that are peer reviewed, you're going to find an introduction that goes over the data that has already been done on the topic. Okay, it just kind of gives you a framework for the researchers. It says, hey, this is what we already know about it. So I don't need to know this information. All right, this is just setting you up so you have some understanding. So the introduction is kind of like a literature review. So then you go down and then the researchers will describe the methods. So how many participants? How did they select the participants? How did they get the data? How did they assess social adjustment? How did they assess this or that? So the methods area will explain how they went about collecting the data. The results, it can be a confusing section. It's a lot of statistical information. You can read through it, but a lot of times people at this level might skip over it. It's very important information, but at the same time, it might be you might feel like it's like getting a little too detailed. So let's go to the discussion. The discussion will discuss the results of the data in more of a word form, in a narrative form rather than statistics. So it's going to say, hey, the hypothesis was supported by the results, and it's going to go on and talk about it. And then they wrap it up probably with, in the discussion, in here somewhere, they usually will talk about limitations or limitations or weaknesses of the study. See right here, it says, it should be noted that this study is limited by correlational nature, and they go on to explain it. So that's one thing that I asked for in the research assignment is, were there any limitations? So that's usually in the discussion section. All right, so we found a good article. I'm going to go backwards to Google Scholar. This is a good one. All right, so I'm going to make sure to keep this. I want to show you something before we go on to look at something else. Is say you're going to use this article. A handy little thing is you click this guy, and this will come up. It says APA. You can copy this, and so I'm going to copy it. So right-click onto it, and I can go over into Word, New, File, New, and I can paste it. All right. APA format, you're going to have references up at the top. That's going to be in the middle. And then you're going to have the author's names, the date, then the title. Now, sometimes when you get that automatic citation, when you get it, they might have all of these letters capitalized. That's not correct. So it's not, when you use that little function to get the APA, you still have to look it over because it might not always be correct, okay? It helps you out, but it's not always correct. The first letter of the title is capitalized, and then usually the first letter of after any colon, all right? So this looks pretty good. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go to paragraph. I'm going to go to hanging indent. That's the format of these, of your reference page. You're always going to want to do the articles in alphabetical order. And you're going to want to make sure to have this. Come on. I want double space. This should all be double space. Okay. All right, so we have one article that we found that's primary research. We already have the APA, reference that we got. So let's go and take another look and see if we can find another article. Let's see. Let's click on this one. Okay, so I'm reading it, and this says, okay, using a quasi-experimental design from 2007, administered. So it looks like this might be a primary research as well. I would go down to methods to find out a little bit more information, methods, and it's going to talk about whether did a quasi-experiment they obtained. So this one looks like it might be. I don't see them talking too much about the participants in here, but I would have to go through and read it a little bit more carefully. Let's check this one out. So I'm gonna go and read the abstract. It says this study examined the link between this and this, and it says 2 weeks after completing measurements, they saw a clip. So this is sounding like primary research. It's an experiment. Look, it says N equals 303. What that means is the number of participants in the study. So this looks like it's primary research because the authors of the study did some sort of experiment or did some sort of survey or psychological measurement, and then they analyze that data. So this would be another great one. This is primary research. All right, let's check out this one. Here it looks like another good one. N equals 371. So that's this one looks like purpose of this study was to test the participants. They go on to talk about how many participants. Another great primary research. I'm trying to find an example of not primary research, and I'm getting all primary research. You might find it a little bit harder. Okay, so I think I found one that is not primary. All right, so here's an article. I'm going to go and I'm going to click on it. So I want to read the abstract. It says, in this commentary, all right, commentary means that they're reviewing other people's work. It says, we first analyze these authors' work and so this one, because they're looking at other people's research, look, it says 25 years of research. So that makes me think that they are reviewing, yes, as in the review of years of research. So these authors are reviewing studies that other people have done. So that's secondary research, okay? So we don't want to use this because for this paper anyways, I mean, secondary research is good, but I want you to break down primary research. Okay, so see, I'm going through and I'm looking at this, and I don't even see a methods section in here that describes the participants. So yeah, this isn't a good one. This is secondary research. It's not primary. Okay, so let's look at that list that we got from Google Scholar, and let's check out this article. So I'm clicking on that. All right, I'm going to read through it. It says, the study of human aggression has led to the development of many different theories. Da, 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 da. This entry summarizes definitions of important concepts, different theories. So do you see here how there isn't like an N equals? It doesn't say that there were participants that did some sort of survey or experiment. What this is a review of other people's work. It's secondary research, all right? So if you go through, look, it's a lot of just talking, kind of like giving a summary of what has been done, a literature review on what other people have found when they did studies. So this is secondary research. It's not primary research. Remember, primary research is research that the authors did, a survey, interview, something of that sort. A quick last thing that I'm going to bring up is, say you find an article and you're like, man, this looks really good, but I don't have the full, I don't have a link to be able to get the whole article. What you can do is, click that little guy again, and you end up finding out the information about the article. And here's the journal. It's in Broadcasting and Electric Media. You can go to our website, www.ncc.edu. Go on down here to the library, and you can, let's see, the databases, you can click in there and see if you can find that article yourself using our databases, so you can go and put the title in the author. If you still have trouble finding an article, the full text article, you can always get a hold of me or the librarian or the LAC. All right, so in this video, I let you know how to find that primary research and how you don't want to use secondary research for this assignment. I also showed you how to do that little trick so that you can get your APA format. For the most part, you still have to, double check to make sure that APA formatting is correct.